Hey my loves, happy Saturday. Today is going to be a Saturday Ascension update rather than a Friday Ascension update because I've had a lot on this week and I needed to regather my energies yesterday after what was a beautiful and powerful event on Thursday night, and it was the event that I'd called Rising Above the Storm, Maintaining Your Mastery, which is similar, I suppose, in name but not energy construction to one that I ran in 2018 before all the fun began. So it's the end of the month today. Time, days, minutes, hours, years all seem to be kind of flowing at a incredible pace, an incredible rate of knots. And I think this May, the May that has just been and gone and coming to a conclusion today, has got to be one of the most exceptional months I've experienced, simply because of the way that it has been constructed energetically, how we've worked, the level of expectation that we may have had at the beginning when the fires of Beltane were lit on May the 1st were insignificant in comparison to the actual work that was undertaken by all of us collectively around the world. And by the time I probably get this uploaded, we'll be moving into June, which is solstice month. And according to the word from upstairs, the Intergalactic Council, May and June are incredibly powerful, energetic, forward-moving months. We can expect, if we're occupying our bodies and our ascension process at the moment, almost kind of wringing our hands and looking to the sky and begging for some relief, we're not going to get it. I'm sorry to kind of present it in that way, but Merlin was very, very sort of forthright when he said that the energy will not relent. It's down to us as light workers, highly trained ascension individuals, aspirants who've probably tried and tested our mettle many times before coming down here. It's down to us to actually adopt that role of responsibility and maybe flip the script slightly, change the record. Actually, it's going to be powerful. Whatever happens, whether it's a moon, whether it's a new moon, whether it's some kind of astrological conjunction, the shifting of Saturn from Pisces into Aries, which I know was, that's massive. That's created a huge shift in the template of energy. No matter what's going on, it's going to be concocted and manufactured and constructed in a way that is going to have a profound energy effect on all of us. So the question then lies within us: how do we navigate this? How do we manage it? And the biggest part of this, I feel for myself anyway, personally, is to accept it. Accept the fact that these energies are going to be high. Work with the flow as it's coming in. If we need to adapt, we adapt. If we need to step back, we step back. Whatever is moving forwards with this intensity at the moment, it's time to start opening our hearts, embracing it, because that's what we have to work with at this time. So there's always a little bit of a pause when we get into July, and I know the first week usually catches me a bit unexpectedly. I think it's the Sirius portal that opens on the 1st of July. Last year I was expecting a bit of downtime, and I got really caught out by it, and so this year I'll be expecting it. But apparently the energy becomes something that we have there as a framework to work with from the end of June onwards, or from the solstice onwards. Once the solstice window kind of once we walk through that gateway, whatever is in place as a framework, as a construction, then will be what we then can settle in with and work. I suppose it's a little bit like the whole process of having to move house quickly and move all your furniture in and do what you've got to do, but under pressure. And then all of a sudden you're in there. You've maybe got to unpack the boxes, you've got to lift all your items out, you've got to find where things go, where it looks good, maybe do a bit of feng shui if that's your thing. And I know that's massive. So when we set ourselves up on the other side of this impending solstice, it's going to be a framework it's going to be there for a considerable period of time. So what we're doing at the moment is very important. This integration, our mindset, our soul set, how our energy levels are responding to the light that's coming in, but most importantly, how our nervous systems are. And I know this is something that I've talked about a lot this year, and I know a lot of other people are speaking about it. The nervous system is all important. And the reason for that is, as human beings, regardless of our stubbornness in many ways, like our ability to dig our heels in and take everything that's thrown at us, our nervous system's intricately wired into our inner child and to the trigger points that we have collected over this lifetime and the other lifetimes. And in many cases, casting my mind back a couple of weeks now to the Zoom that I run for my Sunday night Ascension club, working with core fears. And I think part of one of my previous updates was working with this. The 22 core fears that Joao Kuhl identified that many of us carry. And some of them were a little bit odd, to say the least. People have an almost unnatural fear of artificial intelligence or extraterrestrials or being seen. I mean, I can understand being seen because it's something that I was horrified about when I first started out on this ascension pathway. The thought of me getting up in front of a group of people and doing anything more than squeak my name filled me with the most god-awful terror that I could possibly describe, but I had to do it. So all of these fears that we have, all of these fears that we carry within us, all have the tendency to affect our nervous system. So as we're doing the work that we're doing at the moment, as we're moving through this wave after wave of intense energy, the sun flares are off the charts. Okay, so if a lot of you are keeping an eye on the Schumann resonance, that you might be sun watching, you might be keyed into the sunspots, the solar maximum, these waves of energy coming in, the fact that as this solar maximum increases on the sun, that almost like the protective layer around our beautiful planet has grown very thin. So we are receiving all of these goodies in their prime. And when we assimilate, when we take in, when we draw these light codes into our body, all of which is upon agreement, mind. We're not going to take in stuff that's not beneficial. Your light body, your chakras, your meridians, your personal ascension coding will be set up to respond to specific triggers. And so you could almost look at it from a point of view that each light package that comes in every time the sun speaks and we receive these upgrades, these light codes, beginning up at the solar junction, moving down the Antakrana bridge, being kind of funneled into the stellar gateway and then interacting with the rest of our chakra system. Each time that happens, each person has their own tailor-made light presentation coming through. So you, as you are listening to this, will not be receiving anything that you don't need. You won't be receiving anything that's not useful to you. Everybody on this world, on this ascension pathway, even those that are just waking up, and just saying a big heartfelt greetings and welcome to the party to all of you, because I know there's a huge wave of souls that are just stepping out and stepping onto their soul mission now. And it's all about the soul mission. The rest, whatever happens for the rest of this year, it's about us being unified and in place and focused on what we are actually here to do. And I think if I'm looking forward, if I'm casting my energy forward into the field, what this particular solstice is going to be asking us is, are we fully aligned and committed? Are we? And you have to take all of the different aspects of our journey into consideration when you ask this question. Are we in tune with ourselves? Are we looking after our inner child? Are we aware of how maybe overworked or in a state of peace and calm our nervous system is? Are we taking the time to go through our personal meditations, our rituals, our energy settings? Are we aware of the personal alchemy that our presence has? Are we standing in our light and our power, our mighty I am presence every time we wake up in the morning, get out of bed, bring that energy in? And so therefore, starting our day and our tasks, whatever they may be, they could be just completely mundane, you could regard them as 3D tasks, or they could be like, you could be embarking and getting yourself stuck into planet changing stuff. Everything that we do is a ritual, a meditation, a setting of intention. And we've been asked to be very clear and very concise, very honest with ourselves at this point in time. And considering the stripping back of the illusion on this world, it's obvious that we must be required to function like that. Because if we're not being honest with ourselves, if we're not treating ourselves or working with ourselves with integrity, then how can we possibly bring that energy of authenticity and integrity into the world around us? So walking through the Solstice Gateway, I feel a big part of that is going to be, are we committed? Are we ready? Are we clear? Are we standing in our truth? How authentic are our actions? And are they aligned with our words, our belief, the presentation of ourselves to the world around us? The actions of each one of us, the work that we do, needs to be aligned with our energies. And if they're not, it's so visible, so obvious now, not just to ourselves in the way that we respond to this emotionally, but to all others around us. I've noticed a huge wave of, I suppose you could call it calling out on social media of inauthenticity, or maybe a criticism of the way things that are done when they're not authentic. And it's becoming a thing. Okay, it's becoming a thing. If we're not walking our talk, if we're not aligned with, if our work isn't aligned with truth, integrity, with spirit, then it's becoming blindingly obvious. And that, so it goes all across the board, all the way across the board. So if you think now how glaringly, just strikingly obvious the actions or the capers, the antics, the clown show of the Matrix. Think back 5 years ago to how many people used to actually see what was going on. They'd believe the words of the politicians, they'd believe the news, or they'd take this information and go, oh my God, that's my reality. I think probably 9 people out of every 10 now have realised that that is not the truth, that these people are inauthentic. And I don't think anybody's really taken that into consideration at the moment, just how much our personal view, our perception, our ability to discern has changed. And that all begun to really shift this year when the blue light came through on the 29th of March. I can remember casting my mind back to March, which not very long ago, although it does feel like a long time ago, was a really strange month energetically, because I went dark. I've spoken about this previously. If you haven't caught up with my previous videos, I speak about going dark quite a lot because it's a powerful initiation that many of us on the Ascension pathway go through. When we go dark, our comfort taps, our connections get switched off, and it feels, or it looks, or on a sensory level, it's like being shut in a dark room with no communication with your teams or guides or your spirits or your angels. You can see them or sense them standing round you in a circle, so you're not completely alone, but they are just observing you. They're watching you wriggle and basically probably marking you also on how you respond to this. So I went dark for literally the whole of March, and the last words Merlin said to me was like, go and take a holiday. We are taking a recess. We've got things that we need to discuss up here, because the Ascension process is taking a turn that we hadn't foreseen. And when they came back on the 29th of March and announced that holiday time is over, we've made some decisions, there's been a lot of discussions, and oh, by the way, this blue light, which many of you have been perceiving coming in, is coming in today, and it's going to be doing a very powerful job. That blue light washed away all of the capacity for hiding that the majority of people on this planet still had. They haven't noticed that this has happened, okay? All of a sudden, the outside world, the normal, you know, and I'll say that in inverted commas because no one's normal anymore. So the normal side of society have changed, but majority of them haven't acknowledged the fact that they're changed. All of a sudden, their lie detectors have been switched on, and they're starting to see things that they would have believed previously for what they truly are. And this was what this is the profound effect that this blue light was designed for. As it washes through the third eye, as it washes through the fields, it just basically flushed away the ability to remain an illusion. It was a dehypnotizing download, basically, to remove people from the matrix who are thoroughly ingrained in there. Now, you will see people out there who are still pretending to be aligned with the distortions, and they might be able to continue to convince themselves for a little bit longer, but it will not last for long. So as light workers, for those of us who are already aligned with truth, with integrity, with honesty, with clear vision, with functioning and being aligned with the actions and the words of the heart, this was always something that we're striving for anyway, but this just made it considerably easier. It opened the field out massively in a way that was, and still is, uncomfortable, because when you have this release of illusion, when you are completely dehypnotized or unplugged from the fields that enable people to be distorted, to be lied to, everything opens up. It's not just the nice stuff. So all of a sudden we've got this acute discernment coming in, but we also have visibility of both good and of bad. And it's become rapidly very obvious that all of the shadows are beginning to reveal themselves because they've got nowhere left to hide. So we've got this incredible polarity that is visible to us at the moment. It's always been there, always, but we can see it, we can feel it, and now it's become visible to all of the people who they'd managed to remain shielded from it previously. So we are seeing and undergoing the most incredible metamorphosis of consciousness on this world. It's like a brush fire that is moving through everybody. The consciousness level is rising, the ability to see truth and discern what's right is rising. The anchoring of the light, the mighty I am presence is happening so quickly. It's almost outpacing our ability to keep step with it. And that's why it's so important to be looking after our nervous system and nurturing the inner child, because our inner children and our nervous systems will still be and still have the capacity to respond to a perceived threat and change in the way that they used to, if we haven't worked through our triggers, if we haven't honoured that inner sentience, that calmness, that peace. So that, my loves, is where we are at the moment as we step from May, which is, I feel so strongly, is just a month to be celebrated. So much has been achieved this month. As we walk into the Solstice Gateway, as we begin to navigate June, be ready, be authentic, okay? If one of your fears is visibility, if you're afraid of being seen, something to work upon maybe, because the more visible we are, the more anchored we are in our mighty I am presence, our radiant light, the faster the alchemy occurs around us. Because those that are stepping out and stepping up and undergoing the beginnings of their own metamorphosis, that they're coming out of the chrysalis now, the phoenix has done its burning, and now people are beginning to step out. They're raw, maybe a little bit bewildered, a little bit confused. If they have got the vibration of light, anchored I am presence and authenticity to align with, everything runs smoothly. Okay, well, that's all from me on this beautiful sunny English Saturday, and love you all very much, and I'll see you next week. And Wags Wednesday will be on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, and I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about yet, but I'm sure that will become readily apparent. So if you haven't signed up for that and you want to join the Wags community, the details will be underneath, along with the information about my next online event. Talk to you all soon. Bye for now.